podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I'm D-Mob happy, baby. Last ranked cast of the season.
Are you packing your bags for your hollybobs?
I haven't got any plans. Every year, though, I do mean to book a holiday for the end of the football season because it always feels like I need a holiday at the end of it. And never get one, though.
Never more than this season. I think this has been the most exhausting post-Ferguson, hasn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. So we've got a kind of rough agenda for the day, and we've got a few things to talk about sort of quickly before we get into big time season review chat, and do the Rankcast Awards because because I don't know why, because this is the 9th year that we've been doing them, so I guess we've got to do them again. All right, before we go any further. There have been 2 games played since we last recorded. At the end of the last podcast, I said we're not doing a show after Huddersfield unless something crazy happens. And I didn't mean the kind of crazy that did happen. Huddersfield taking the first points that any of the bottom 3 have taken off the top 6 this season.
I don't know how to describe how bad United were in this game, other than it was up there with Olympiacos, with West Ham, with all the top 5 worst that we've discussed quite a few times.
What was the one the other day that was the new...
Exactly. At every time you think this lot hit a new low, they say, hold my beer. Right? Because, honestly, if they'd been literally holding beer and running around that football pitch, they wouldn't have spilt any. That's how much effort was being put in by I hate this narrative. Honestly, I hate it. I hate going, oh, it's all about the effort and passion, isn't it? But my God, they couldn't have said, I don't care, if it was on a big flashing billboard on top of all their heads. And I'm saying all of them here because it was all of them. And there's this magical piece a few seconds that was going around on Twitter of Luke Shaw's efforts to get back. This wasn't even the one where...
Player of the year.
Yeah, Player of the Year, Luke Shaw. This wasn't even the one where Huddersfield scored, right, which was an abysmal piece of defending. This was one where they were breaking. And he was just sort of ambling back to the left-back spot. And I was watching this at the time, and it was sort of widely shared afterwards, going, my God, if that isn't a symptom of the entire team. They all played like that. It was just, my God. And it's not as if that was... Today's performance against Cardiff was unforgivable because pride, yeah? But that was even worse because they actually theoretically had a shot of still making the top 4, of making a Champions League, which is good for the club, of not getting a 25% pay cut, which is good for them. And they still didn't seem to be able to muster the effort, the will, the desire, the whatever, to be able to put in a performance.
Yeah, and this is I completely know what you mean when you say that the kind of passion and desire narrative is so overblown and frustrating. But the flip side, where passion and desire are not important parts of elite sport, as if there's ever been an elite sports person who wasn't ultra committed.
Oh, right,
So, it's obviously, that is a component, that's a component to this whole mess too. The terrifying thing about that game, and Cardiff, at least the performance against Cardiff, we were there were attacks after attacks after attacks, and we had a lot of shots in that game. Didn't add up to much, either in terms of, obviously in terms of real goals, but even in terms of expected goals, we pipped Cardiff thanks to the incredibly high quality of chance we offered up to them in our generous fashion. But the really worrying thing about this is the spirit in the camp, which for the last 3 months has obviously, I don't know how long it is, I'm saying 3 months, but basically when was the last time this looked like a United committed behind the manager camp?
Paris
It's
away.
a long time. Yeah, exactly. Like ever since then, and then the Arsenal game after that, we were pretty good in that game. Or we certainly were good for periods of that game. But the last month in particular, month and a half,
God, it's been awful.
I don't know how anyone's got any hope. Like I was really excited for Solskjaer to get the job permanently, and I really have bought into the idea of him having a bit of something about him. I remember this documentary where MUTV went to Mulder that I keep talking about, where he just was so authoritative and in control. And watching him at the end of the season awards and watching him just generally like. That's what this club is about. FC is not going to last any longer. Like he's lost all his gravitas. He's lost everything. It's pretty abundantly clear that he has in record time lost the dressing room. Whether he can find it again, bring in some key signings that will reinvigorate the place. I'm not saying we should sack him because that would be ridiculous. But it's very upsetting how quickly and how dramatically it's all gone wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, really quickly, there've been an awful lot of leaks coming out of that dressing room about the unhappiness of players, especially in terms of contracts. They're all going to be taking this big pay cut, as I mentioned. There's Pogba's people are clearly trying to get him away, and De Gea stalling on new contract. Meanwhile, Alexis Sanchez gets a £75,000 bonus for just stepping onto the pitch, and another £75,000 £90,000, we now know, for scoring a goal, and $25,000 for an assist. Fortunately, the club's bankers haven't had to pay that out very much.
Why doesn't he try and get them then? Like you'd think that he'd be like, oh, I get so much money every time.
Because he's not very good. There's a piece in UWS, the one that just came out today, saying that Arsenal were delighted to get rid of him because they believed his legs had gone and had the data to prove it. And I think I remember at the time we having a discussion about that, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned something about Arsenal are very good sellers. And Wenger was, and over the years he's got rid of players, like not too many players left Arsenal and got better.
Apart from Robin van Persie,
right, for 6 months or something, almost a year. Look, everyone was terrible in this game. They've been terrible for a month. They don't seem to be able to rouse themselves. Where I do buy into the effort narrative is, well, if they're in poor form, at least bloody run. That's free, mate. That is free. And I've given a lot of pass on this pod, haven't I? Because as Solskjaer says, like every third sentence in his press conferences, they're not fit enough. And he was trying to play this high intensity game. They got a bunch of injuries. He stopped that. The tactical change has been pretty damaging for United, and that's kind of cope with the injuries, one, and the lack of fitness, two. But at least go for an hour. What's the excuse in the first 5 minutes?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Cardiff, then, the nice thing about it was Mason Greenwood in the starting 11.
He should have got about 5, shouldn't he?
Yeah, 7 shots on goal.
He's never going to make Greenwood. It. Been him already.
By miles and miles and miles, the kind of got into the best positions of any United player when he was taking shots.
Right,
and
he is a natural.
I definitely think he should be in the starting 11 for the first game of next season. I think we should be looking at Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood next season for the front three.
Well, we'll come on to that one, right? That's
absolutely
a topic point on this. I was pretty excited to see him, and that balance that he's got that has been really evident in the under 18s and the under 23s. This side was evident in the first team, wasn't it? And he gets into really nice positions and he's able to pass players. I was really surprised. One really good chance he had, he sort of tried to poke it with the outside of his left foot. He scored 15 goals with his right foot this season or something like that, I guess nerves getting to him. But it was really nice. In the United app before the game, they had the starting 11 and he said, which is the player that you're most excited to see in today's game? And Greenwood got like 70%. 1% of people vote Chris Smalling.
Just like definitely Chris Smalling's family, innit? Or Cardiff fans, as was evidenced by some of the things that happened. The penalty was not a penalty, in my opinion.
Definitely not.
I felt like VAR would have chalked that off, and we'll find out next season what that's like in the Prem.
Yeah, they were actually running a test today, so although it wasn't used, and they're not going to have the pitch side VAR system, are they, in the Premier League next season? It's going to be sort of all done from their HQ, which is in West London somewhere. I can't remember. It's like the Nats control centre, isn't it? But for referee and
Skynet, isn't it? That's what it is. It's referee
right.
Skynet.
That's right. So they have a panel of referees with loads of screens on looking at it. I wonder what they would have come back with that one. Surely it would have been white top. But yeah, I kind of, in a way, I think that system's a bit better without having a long rant about VAR, just because the whole referees going to the side of the pitch is dramatic for people watching on TV, but in a stadium, especially in a stadium like Old Trafford that hasn't got any screens, or not, at least not any good ones, it's just dead air.
Yeah,
absolutely. And, that lack of clarity will be a real problem.
I mean, perhaps Tottenham fans might disagree with that, but they've obviously got some pretty good screens at their new stadium. They had quite the moment with the VAR no goal offside. A friend of mine who's a Tottenham blogger, put out T-shirts that said VAR offside no goal, which is really, really funny. And we'll talk a little bit about the Champions League in a minute. I've got nothing else to say about the Cardiff game. The goal that we conceded was hilariously appalling. I mean, listen, worth pointing out that Pogba, McTominay, Pereira, Lingard, Rashford, Greenwood all started this club. And then Gomez came on this club. So a lot of this club action, which is great. Now, unfortunately, this club is also about losing 2-0 to Cardiff. And Cardiff fans singing, "You're just a rubbish Neil Warnock" at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Listen, you pathetic weasels. You are relegated what you deserve with that absolute Brexit scumbag at your helm.
Anyway, that's right, yeah. The whole this club thing... it's starting to grate. I've got to be honest. United's playing not only in the press and the marketing on the history and stuff like that. I half expect any lack of signings this summer to then be put down to it's all going to be about youth.
It's in the recent history of this club that we invest poorly in the transfer window. That's what our traditions have been terrible are built on, don't you know? Talking of which, Jamie Carragher calling out Gary Neville for his pathetic lack of engagement with the Glazer ownership. All Neville's criticisms basically aimed at Ed Woodward. Never mentions the Glazers, and Jamie Carragher called him out.
Never does. It was interesting. It started with a Carragher tweet about the press coverage of Liverpool, and Neville said, "Oh yeah, it's hard working in TV because 75% of the media are Scouse or something like that," and Carragher said back, "Well, we let you have your little rant about Ed Woodward every week, don't we?" But no word on the Glazers, eh? And all Gary Neville came back with was ooh and an emoji of a salt shaker, which was really a pathetic response.
Yeah, absolutely. I just was scrolling back through Gary Neville's tweets, which brought me to something else I wanted to talk about. Jeff Boycott has said, "When MUTV requested an interview at the Player of the Year Awards, I don't believe my answers were untrue or unfair. The newspaper headlines are at it again, making out I slag people off. Please listen to the whole interview and not just the certain comments in certain newspapers. I've supported our club for 55 years and was delighted to be a guest at the Player of the Year Awards, but I won't lie about this year's football. I've loved Man United through good times and bads and will continue to, but I don't look at everything through red-coloured spectacles." Now so there are listeners all over the world listening to this podcast. Some of them are in America where they don't have cricket, so they won't know who Jeff Boycott is. But Jeff Boycott is a genuinely legendary cricketer, an England legend. But the other thing that he is legendary for is being an absolute curmudgeon and a complete, tell it like it is merchant.
I mean, what did they think was going to happen?
Honestly. So the thing about these tweets is, if you haven't heard this interview, because me and Ed both caught this live. I didn't watch the whole Player of the Year awards, but because it was free in the app, I was like doing the washing up and I had the awards on in the background. And I just happened to catch this and it was glorious. So Mark Sullivan, who, you know, is paid up member of the MUTV Pravda squad, like he's doing his job. That's what he's got to do. He says to Boycott, "What does this club mean to you?" And Boycott goes, "Well, this year, disappointment."
It was great. So it was hilariously off script. Just beautiful.
And he did slag Solskjaer off as well, by the way. Like, he might say he didn't, but when Sullivan said, "But of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he'll know what it was like to be in the dressing room with Roy Keane and Alex Ferguson," and Boycott goes, "Well, he hasn't got the experience, though, has he?" Cardiff, where he resigned honourably. And then a club in his own country, which isn't exactly the Premiership. Can you tell I've watched this interview like 4 times? It was very funny anyway.
Jeff Boycott, for our overseas listeners, was not only a famous curmudgeon post retirement, but the man who would straight bat everything. I'm trying to think if there's a sports equivalent, like bunting it in baseball. He'd do that all the time, famous for it, and it was just impossible to get him out. He's that kind of stubborn man.
He's a Catenaccio cricketer.
I enjoyed that. Anyway, MUTV Award. Do you want to go through them?
I don't know. Congratulations to Mason Greenwood and Tahith Chong for being the most famous players in their respective teams. I mean, they you know, I'm not saying they don't deserve the awards. I think Greenwood's had an absolutely unbelievable season, obviously. But that award just goes to youth team players who have played for the first team mostly.
Mostly. I mean, there are quite a few, I think, who in the reserves who could be in with a shout of this one. Jim Gardner's had a really excellent season as well. I mean, Chong's had a good one. United is struggling at youth and reserve level. I mean, they're playing in the second division of their reserve level. And youth under 18s getting better. But it has been a bit of a disaster for a few years. So Greenwood's a real bright spark there. And a few others, have got talent and we haven't seen them progress yet. And hopefully he'll get a chance. I mean, he deserves his award. Hopefully he'll get a chance in the first team squad. I mean, it's almost 2 years to the day since Angel Gomez made his debut as well. And he's not had much of a chance in the first team in that time.
Goal of the season, I think we should save that. And Pereira won it, but we'll save the chat about it for when we do our own Goal of the Season award.
And of course, first time United had a women's team award. I assume so, anyway. Were these awards going when United last had a women's team the year before Glazers chopped the team up?
Good question. No idea. I mean, we had Player of the Year awards, obviously, but I'm not sure if I don't know.
Yeah. Don't remember. Anyway, Katie Zellum won. Probably her and Molly Greenwood, probably, the outstanding players in the women's team this season. But she well deserves it. It's been this is a bright spot in United's teams this year. Won the Women's Championship by miles and miles and miles. A team formed from nothing, mostly free transfers from Women's Super League teams, and gone up at the first time of asking, and it'll be a good test for them next year. I assume they'll bring in some new players to strengthen that squad. They had a few games against Women's Super League teams this season, didn't they? Arsenal in that semi-final, Reading. I think there was another one.
You've said this every week for the last 3 weeks.
Have I? Yeah. Whatever. I'm getting in my old age and getting repetitive, a bit like Boycott. Anyway, good win for her.
Yeah. Talking of the need to strengthen in the summer, Luke Shaw won both United's Player of the Season awards.
I mean, this is
honestly,
United's conceded more goals in this season than in any of the Premier League seasons. I think I'm right in saying that as going around. And Luke Shaw won it. And, I mean, I suppose you could give a shout for Victor Lindelof being close. I mean, I have to say, isn't this... he won both of them, so, obviously thousands of people vote for the fans player. but it's just the first team that votes for the player's player, so you can win with like 6 votes or something, probably.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to get a pretty significant split to win it with just 6 votes, wouldn't you? Do you think they lobby for it? Luke Shaw's like getting Andreas Pereira on the phone, being like, "Come on, Andreas, I'll buy you a new PlayStation or whatever.
You vote me, I'll vote you."
I think they can probably afford their own PlayStations, can't they? But anyway, yeah. Rumor
they
going
should
around
carry on playing the PlayStations. No good on the fucking pitch, are they?
Rumour going around that Jose Mourinho had a private detective watching Luke Shaw because he believed he was secretly ordering KFC late at night. Whether that is true or not, I have no idea. But
you see, it used to be Fergie, didn't it? I mean, he'd have his moles around town, and then he'd turn up at whatever party shop and gigs were at.
Yeah. That's true. But yeah, Luke Shaw, Scott from Republica Mancunia wrote an article after the awards describing Luke Shaw as the worst player of the year in Manchester United's history, and I think that's absolutely accurate.
Yeah, I mean, look, there were times. I mean, it's his best season at the club, which says something, sure. I suppose. And there were times when, you know, in that sort of purple patch, post Jose, pre-disaster, when he looked like he was becoming the player we hoped he'd become.
The thing is, though, the post Jose pre-disaster, there were other players playing better than Shaw.
Yeah.
The thing that's won it for him is like least worst for most of the season. Like he's just been like, yeah, Luke Shaw, I guess. That's the player of the year voting this year. As we'll come to later, I'm not necessarily sure that'd even be my choice of the least offensive choice for player of the year. But I don't think Scott's argument was he's the least deserving of all player of the years, because I don't think he is. I think the argument is, it's just like if you compare him to every other player's season that's won this award before ever, every single one of them's been better than Luke Shaw's season this season. So yeah, that was grim. Talking of players that won Player of the Year awards in difficult circumstances, one said goodbye in a very emotional video circulated on United's social media channels. Ander Herrera is, as we all kind of knew, but we now definitely know, basically has left Man United. That's it. And we'll never see Ander Herrera in a red shirt again, except in testimonials. You know he's playing in every single testimonial he can for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, and a lot of sort of salty words from the press. So I think it's okay to hold a few things in your head at the same time here. One is, this was a balls up by United. Should have done this deal 18 months ago, and he'd be staying probably at a bump on his wages, but much less than he's going to earn at Paris Saint-Germain, and he would have been happy with that. And we'd have kept a squad player who was an important part of that post-Jose bump, wasn't he? You know, and him being out
He's been an important part of every good thing that's happened since he arrived at United, in my opinion.
All right, yeah. And him being out for a month or close to a month was a real blow. So there's that thing. There's also the thing that says, well, United could, in theory, upgrade Herrera. I mean, I'm not sure you could guarantee him a starting spot in any of the 5 clubs above us. You know, maybe Arsenal, but I don't think you could. But then there's the third thing, and this is the worrying thing. My level of faith in the club finding a player that's as good or better than Herrera is 0.
Herrera starts for every Premier League team above us apart from City. He 100% starts for Tottenham. It's not even close. Liverpool's midfield is whatever.
So which one of Sissoko, Dembele, Ali,
Dembele, who plays in China, by the way, doesn't play for them. Tottenham Hotspur's deep lying midfield options are like being held together by Pochettino and a piece of string. Herrera's natural level is so far above, honestly, the slander that Ander Herrera's received on this show and in the wider world. He's been ruined by Man United. He never should have come near us. It's such a shame that Ander Herrera decided to come to Man United and be abused and used by
How many
Louis
games do you
van
reckon
Gaal.
he'll start for Paris Saint-Germain? Let's take a number now. Like Paris Saint-Germain are going to play 60 games next season. Give me a number.
38 in the league and
He's going to start
13
every single game in the league.
without a question. Why wouldn't he? He's under Herrera. No, I don't know. 30. But he's better than any of Chelsea's midfielders apart from N'Golo Kante. We've done this before. But anyway, the genuine thing that I wanted to say is his United career has just been horrible because of the way he's been used. Because he's had bad games, obviously, when he's been in the team, but his good game to bad game ratio is very favourable to him. The thing that's happened to him, he's just been chopped and changed all around. He was wasted by Van Gaal for the first first half of Van Gaal's first season and the first half of his second season. Almost all the good football under Van Gaal had Herrera as a key part of it, especially when it was really good. Jose reinvented him as a 6 because he couldn't think of a better way of using him, and then wasted 2 years of his career on that nonsense. Like, it's a shambles. 4 years down the absolute drain.
I think he was always a 6 out of 10, wasn't he?
What's up with you and Ander Herrera? Like, when did this happen?
No. Look, he is the closest thing we've got to Nicky Butt, which it is my feeling about it. He's a good player, not a great player. You need the Nicky Butts in your squad to do well, and he has done well for periods of his United career. And I think it's a real shame that United have buggered this one up. He should be staying. He's not worth 300 grand a week, but he would have accepted way less than that if this deal had been done 18 months.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think he's worth 300 grand a week either. But the thing that I think is United have messed up Ander Herrera since the day he arrived. That's my overwhelming feeling. It's just, here is a player who's been messed about by the managers at this club, far too much. And I wish him very well in the future, and I hope he wins. I don't know. He's at PSG, so I can't hope he wins anything, but he will win 1 million league titles in the next 4 years, won't he?
Well, I'm going to guess it's probably more likely to be 4 league titles he's going to win the next 4 years.
Don't they give him an extra one for how many points they finish ahead every season?
Probably.
Talking of him starting for teams above us, I reckon he would start for either of the Champions League finalists in the Champions League final. Football's a bit crazy, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, these things happen, don't they? Last minute winners. We've had a few in European competitions down the years.
I mean, Liverpool
talking about getting misty-eyed about it.
Liverpool were 3-0 down against a team with Leo Messi in it, and Tottenham won with the last kick of the game 2 games in a row, and you're like, you know what, these things happen. No, football isn't romantic and amazing. It's just a statistical quirk. Also, Ander Herrera's rubbish.
I enjoyed the Spurs game an awful lot more than the Liverpool game. Got to admit that one. It was. I mean, I actually kind of felt slightly nauseous watching that Liverpool game. Really bizarre how flat Barcelona were. I mean, okay, there was a good atmosphere at Anfield. They turn it on once in a while, don't they? For their gathering press, and it was they were every shot they had they were scoring with, basically. But like Barcelona, so flat. What like one goal broke them basically, and then they just went in it after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Weird how. Listen, that first game, Barcelona were not all that good. It's just Messi took the game by the scruff of the neck for a few minutes, and he was never able to do that in that second leg. And you have to give credit to the way Liverpool played as well. I mean, they handled Messi really well. They crowded him out really effectively. It was completely remarkable, of course. And then then the next night, it was kind of even more exciting, the Spurs game, not just the tribalist side of it, but the way it went down with Spurs, because it was a turnaround within a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. And I mean, like, standalone, Liverpool winning 4-0 was a remarkable result, but it didn't make it that exciting unless you really wanted Liverpool to win, which obviously I didn't. This one was different because I didn't really have a preference, Ajax or Spurs. I suppose probably Ajax, because they're they've got a budget the third the size of Spurs is, and it's an exciting young team who will all be playing in Barcelona next season, by the looks of it. But yeah, Spurs it weren't that bad in the first half. I actually thought they created some good chances. They were just a bit loose defensively, weren't they? And Ajax was zipping the ball around really quickly. And Pochettino demonstrated once again why he would have been a fine signing for Manchester United by winning the game with a goal change. I mean, he threw on Llorente and Spurs went long ball. And it absolutely destroyed Ajax.
He definitely watched the highlights of the Europa League final against us at half time.
Well, maybe he had Jose on. Jose, what should I do? Hoof it. Can you not knock it?
Lob it up to the big man. It totally worked. Lucas Moura, who is a fascist, scored an incredible hat-trick. The second and third goals in that hat-trick, the second one where it's all bobbling around like that, when you get a goal-mouth scramble and like a brilliant chance is cleared, it is so rare that the attacking side then get their heads together quick enough to score in the immediate aftermath of that. Those things seem to get cleared every time, but he did absolutely brilliantly. And then his finish for the third under that level of pressure, Ali's touch as well for the pass to Moura, totally remarkable. And maybe Fergie was wrong when he chose not to spend, when he said it was crazy to spend £30 million on a teenager some 10 years after he'd spent £30 million on a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, Moura's interesting, isn't he? Not just for his far-right views, but for the sort of in and out performances he's had over his career. I mean, he seems to be putting it together for Spurs, and he's flexible that he plays in a number of positions, often off the right, but up front with Kane and Son not available, or Kane not available for this one. And he's been, 25 million? He's been a really good purchase for Spurs. And yeah, he's got them a place in the Champions League final, which has certainly paid that feedback pretty. The really interesting thing, apart from like Spurs going long ball, was how quickly Ajax crumbled. And they've just been so composed in this season's Champions League. You didn't really expect that, and it was the player that like everyone is going on about, and like I mentioned in our transfer piece a couple of months ago. And Matthijs de Ligt, who just melted, just couldn't cope with it. And I mean, he'll learn something from that. He's too good a player, I think, to spend his career being singled out by long balls to big men. I mean, it's not going to happen too often in Spain, is it? But yeah, it was a pretty crude way of doing it. But one you figure that they'd worked out beforehand as a potential fallback.
Yeah, and now we're in a position where there are... I mean, if you told us 10 years ago when we started this podcast that there would be 4 out of the 4 European finalists would be British clubs and United would be nowhere near and finishing 6th, I think we would have been quite surprised. A kind of weird quirk that neither Manchester club is part of it, and that 3 London clubs are in the finals of these things. That is surprising.
Where's Arsene Wenger claiming a power shift to London when you need him?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that City just won the league, of course, and just nipping Liverpool, like we're recording, obviously, after that's all done and dusted, and the worst possible outcome is avoided for Man United fans with a tribalist bent. I think I'm not totally comfortable with being like, oh yeah, I'm glad that the team funded by soft power and financial doping have beaten a team who've like organically grown it by backing a really good manager in the transfer market.
I did this whole piece on the ESPN podcast a few months back, Neil Henderson from Anfield Wrap, and my argument, the way I rationalise this one is like some massive rationalisation is yes, absolutely, City are doing this soft power and for an abusive regime, so we forget about their terrible human rights record. And it's crude financial doping, which we now know the £1 billion extent of, don't we? And it's disgusting. But they're not a real club. This is a kind of crusty, sheeted, wet dream for some Emirati to broadcast their greatness around the world. So that's how I rid myself of the fact they had to win. So I'm making your argument for you. But at least they beat us.
Using their evil powers for good. No, I don't know. In the end, I just felt very flat about the whole thing. And of course, for I have to say, I've been thinking a lot about tribalism lately, and I'm not going to go into that on this podcast, which is mostly for people who are super into tribalism. But it's going to be a lot easier in the Champions League final because I've always quite liked Spurs. So, Spurs have always been a team that I've not felt negatively towards. We would always have amazing games with them and batter them. And come on, new Spurs, etc. They're hotshot Tottenham. They are the Super Spurs. Everybody knows they're the football connoisseurs, in the immortal words of Chaz and Dave.
Yeah, you're besties, right? You Chaz, and
absolutely.
Juan, who I suspect is also doing one, isn't he? Along with Ander. He's
we'll
not
see.
signed. Well, it's not been announced that he didn't have a Thierry departure video.
He definitely will if he goes, though, won't he?
Yeah.
He's got a year left on his contract, though, right?
No, I think he's done.
Ah, right.
I think he's done. They triggered the 1 year last year, and he's out of contract, and they have offered him a new 1 year, but he's probably looking for something more than that. I mean, we kind of don't blame players when they're offered 1 year because an injury, it might be low risk, but once you get into your 30s, an injury could end, and he can go somewhere, pick up good money, or disappear to China and make him for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I wonder whether he'll do the Iniesta Japanese league because it's slightly more hipstery than going to China for the money, isn't it? It's kind of a little it's a bit more cool and left field to do Japan for the money.
It'll take some time to close on the top. We finished 5 or 6 points behind third, fourth, fifth, and that has to be our aim. The top two teams have set a higher standard than before, and we have to take up the next challenge, said David Moyes in 2014. No, said Ollie. He's become a bit Moyes, hasn't he?
I mean, it happens to them all. They all fall down. It happened to Van Gaal. I mean, Mourinho didn't have to go far to get into glum negativity. But yeah, Solskjaer, he's gone fully down that route of of course this team has to be challenging for the Premier League title too. Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these idiots. Talking of idiots, what's going on with the UEFA proposals to change the Champions League, Ed?
Well, yeah, leaked, and AP published a story this week with shots of a PowerPoint presentation. It's all being driven by Agnelli, who is the chairman of Juventus. The proposal is from 2024. They'd shift, instead of the Champions League and Europa League, they'd shift into 3 versions. So the main Champions League 2, and Champions League 3, or whatever they'll call them. And so back to 3 competitions, but the big change being promotion and relegation between the 3 competitions, a shift from 8 groups of 4 to 4 groups of 8, so guaranteed more games, and no guaranteed passage from National League into the main competition. So, in fact, the only passage from National Leagues is into the 3rd tier competition. There's 4 spots only, I think, would go into the qualifying rounds of the Champions League, the tier, under this proposal, and I think the 4 semi-finalists from the Europa League, or whatever the 2nd division is called, would also make into the qualifying round. So basically a lock-up for the big clubs who can share more of the TV money, presumably.
And also another trophy for us when we win Champions League 3 in a few years' time.
Yeah, after a couple of relegations. Because, United do still pull in the crowds on TV, so that they would be in this one because it surely is based not on merits and based on the size of your TV pool.
Grandfathered in on the basis that we were good once.
Yeah. So it's a really awful proposal, of course. I mean, on a number of levels, so anti-competitive bit. So removing relegation, it would destroy the quality of national leagues. I would imagine it would mean you're playing basically. But like the special thing about European football is you don't play these teams every week. I think it ceases to become special, and an awful lot more of these games become. And like I think the group stages of the Champions League quite often dull now, let alone making that drag on for 14 games, albeit against, well, no, it wouldn't be against quality competition. I mean, yeah, well, maybe it would, because you'd be playing third and fourth place from the big teams rather than the Lithuanian champions or something. But yeah, it's just awful. It's awful for the fans. It's awful for competition. And the only thing it will do is make an awful lot more money, which the big clubs will then spend on transfer fees and wages.
I guess it's all about trying to fend off the European Super League, right? That's what they're trying to do. We talked about this.
This is the European Super League, basically. I mean, if you're guaranteed 14 games and then you go for another 2, 4, 6, 7 to win it, that's half a season of European football. Yeah.
More, right? 21 games. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, so it's good that football as a whole is doomed. That'll time well with it. I mean, it will matter less that we're doomed then, because like if football is like good and we're terrible, that'll be difficult. But if football's just rubbish and depressing, then it won't matter that we're also rubbish and depressing. We'll just be part of the whole vibe. It's a bit like Donald Trump and climate change happening at the same time.
Yeah. There was a report out last month from NASA about an asteroid, which a few years ago they weren't quite sure of the chances of it hitting Earth, and this thing's pretty big. I think it's like 15 kilometers, so it would end all life on Earth. They're saying now probably going to pass about 25,000 miles away from Earth, but there's still just less than 1% chance that they got that wrong, and it will hit us and end all life before the start of the new season. I mean, swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, small mercies. All right, come on, let's give out some awards to people that don't deserve it whatsoever. All right, so I think we should start with, just to get it out of the way, worst performance of the season. And I've got a few nominees for you. Manchester United, West Ham 3, Manchester United 1. That's my first candidate there.
I think it's a very strong candidate. Go on then, what else we got?
Oh God, these dying days of... I tell you what, we won this game, but Manchester United 1, Young Boys 0.
Turgid, proper turgid.
Yeah. Oh, Crystal Palace, Man United 0, Crystal Palace 0.
Yeah, bad.
That was really bad. All right, and then we come to... So those are all Mourinho era nominees.
You've forgotten Liverpool 3, United 1.
I mean...
In December.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was really bad.
Okay.
Valencia 2, United 1 just before that. That was really bad as well.
It was, but it's away at Valencia, so I discounted that.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. It's just...
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was. But it's not going to win. That's definitely not going to win. So now we have to come to the Solskjaer era. And I think we should probably start with... when it started to get really grim, Everton 4, Manchester United 0. And then Huddersfield...
I lost 2-1 away at Wolves before that. That was bad. I mean, the loss at Arsenal just before that wasn't so bad, was it?
There's no way a 2-1 loss away at Wolves is going to compete with the West Ham game or that 4-0 loss to Everton.
No, I'm just discussing the merits of potential options.
Don't chuck these also-rans into the mix where we've got elite competition here. We are talking about the creme de la creme of poop. But I tell you what, even though it's not a loss, Huddersfield 1, Manchester United 1, The only thing I've seen of that is the Luke Shaw clip, and that's going on my list just for that moment.
God. I mean, just a Big Mac down the end. Oh no, sorry, it's a family bucket, isn't it? It's like dog track. Come on, Lukey. Come on, Luke. You can do it. No, for me. Well, are we going to pick a winner out of all this?
Yeah, we got to.
For me, it's West Ham. It was just, this was a cry for help. They say cut across the wrist for to make a statement, cut down to make an impact. Right? This was cutting down. This was Jose going, I'm at the end. Help me.
Ed, I'm sorry to say this, but could you come up with a different analogy, given that the Samaritans ask that
you don't
people in the media
advice.
don't give specific advice, and I'm a mental health professional.
All right.
Thank you.
For me, it has to be United at West Ham. This was just such a desperate cry for help from Jose Mourinho. I mean, he went with 3 at the back, 2 of which were midfielders. And United proceeded to perform in the most abject manner. But it was just set up by the manager, who was like, we need to lose and please sack me. I want my payoff.
That game, just looking at the starting 11, is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, I don't know if that was worse than some of the stuff that we've been served up in the last month. It's got but Everton because that West Ham game, the season was over at that point. We had nothing to play for, even though it was much earlier in the season, paradoxically. That was done. We were just in the death throes of something. Everton 4, Manchester United 0 was a game we desperately needed to win to prove that the upsurge in optimism hadn't been a fluke, and that we were seriously we'd got ourselves into position to definitely we were well ahead in the top 4 race. We should definitely have been winning that top 4 race, comfy 2 spots available, and we just started chucking stuff out the window to just try and maintain air as the hot air balloon desperately started to crash into the ground. And the thing about the game against Everton is, the West Ham game, there's some mitigation in a way, because it is a cry for help from the manager. So, what are the players supposed to do under those circumstances? But, De Gea, Lindelof, Smalling, Jones, Dalot, Pogba, Matic, Fred, Rashford, Lukaku, Martial, that's 2 or 3 players away in a 4-3-3, totally normal, sane formation. You don't read that starting 11 and go, oh no, oh, what's he doing? And yet we lost 4-0 to Everton. We scored a goal in the West Ham game as well, which there were 4 goals in both of those games.
Yeah, no, it's a good argument. I'm still going with West Ham, but we can have more than one winner in this category, because there've been just so many.
It's deserved, isn't it? All right, so I guess we should follow up with best performance of the season to kind of pick up the thing, because as I said at the start of the show, and as everybody knows, this hasn't been a universally depressing season. There was an incredible run in the middle of it. Which of those was your favourite?
Well, favourite or best performance, because I think those are 2 different things.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Best performance.
Yeah. Best performance, I mean, maybe the first one at Cardiff, where United completely destroyed them, although it is against Cardiff. So, could that... I don't know. The 3-1 win at Arsenal was hugely enjoyable, wasn't it? In the FA Cup. The win against Chelsea in the FA Cup as well was it was different. Yeah. Because it wasn't playing on the break, but it was just really controlled. And then the win at Tottenham, not the same kind of level of performance, but enjoyable. So maybe the win at Arsenal was kind of the one.
But I think it's very interesting that you pick a game where we had less shots than them, less possession than them. It was a good counter-attacking performance, but there was a lot of good fortune in that, wasn't there? That we had 37% possession in that game and 8 shots to Arsenal's 13. So I don't know if I can give that best performance. I think I preferred some of the games where we were sort of more in control and dominant and pressing really high up the pitch in a way than I think that's when we looked at our best, was when we were getting the ball off teams in their in the final third, rather than just like soaking up pressure and hitting on the break. So I think I might go for the 5-1 against Cardiff, especially after today. I'm just bitter about it. I think it's probably worth giving a shout out as well to the Juventus game, just the last 10 minutes of the Juventus game. Obviously, overall, that game we didn't play very well, but those last 10 minutes were absolutely remarkable when we engineered that comeback and won 2-1 when Mourinho was still in charge.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago.
Really does, yeah. I mean, like, I'm struggling with this because they haven't been that good performances, have they? That period we're talking about where United were pressing high and taking it to teams. And
it was 4 games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, most of the time under Ole, it's been bad. I mean, we love him and he's a hero and all that, but
yeah,
it's been really bad, even when United were winning. I mean, there was a certain logic to it. Look, we're going to have 25% possession and hit teams on the break, and we're going to try and steal the ball in the final third to engineer mistakes. But it's just not a lot of that. Not a lot of good stuff.
And then we have to talk about, of course, because I'm sure this is what you were saying when you were differentiating favourite or best, the absolute best moment of the season.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is the same for everyone. I can't imagine anyone else is picking anything other than that. The game that ended it all, like
Yes.
literally the last good moment of the season. But what a moment! It was almost worth sacrificing the rest of the season for such a good moment. This is the reason why I'm ultra gutted we're not in the Champions League next season, because the fact that it was on the stage of the Champions League added so much to it. And that was obviously the PSG game.
Yeah,
I was going to.
that moment when Rashford put away the penalty, I, along with every other United fan at the game or watching on TV, went bonkers. So
yeah,
that was the moment. That was magic. And then after that, loss, terrible performance against Watford, loss, terrible performance against West Ham, loss, terrible performance against Chelsea and Huddersfield, loss.
By the way, you missed out a loss. That's how bad it was. There's another loss in there that you missed out. So yeah, just it's just been ultra grim. We thoroughly burnt out our season on that glorious night in Paris, but it was glorious. Like the pictures of Greenwood celebrating at the end, and and was Garner was on the pitch too. Chong was on the pitch, and maybe not Garner, but Chong definitely was, and just the life and vitality and youth and drama and the composure that Rashford had for that penalty. I mean, we talk about goal of the season later, and obviously you're not ever putting a penalty as goal of the season, but my goodness gracious me, that is a rare candidate in my opinion as a penalty as goal of the season, because of the stakes and the drama and the composure. And the most composed person, not just in the stadium, but basically in the whole world, the most composed United fan in the whole world in that moment was Marcus Rashford. And
it feels like that was his last goal as well.
I think it might have been.
No, he's good.
There's one since. I think it's one since.
There was comment in UWS about how the coaching staff are baffled that he's just stopped running in behind defenders, which is true. He's dropping deeper and deeper and deeper and taking pot shots from like 40 yards out all the time.
Yeah. Very, very odd. And the coaching staff being confused about what the players are doing is a bit of a worry, isn't it? Because it's like they have some relationship with what the players are doing, you would hope, of course. I've also heard a rumour that the coaching staff are baffled by what Romelu Lukaku thinks of his own abilities. Very enjoyable. You've put manager of the year as one of the categories.
I was
Mike Carrick, isn't it?
Mike Phelan, isn't it?
No, it was Mike Carrick for that one day when he was in charge.
Yeah, no, that's right.
All right, so you've gone with pull your hair out and scream moment. I guess you mean that in a negative sense. We've just done the best moment of the season. Got to do the worst moment of the season. Yeah. Oh, I know what mine is.
Well, I can't say the West Ham game as well again, because that was just ridiculous. I mean, and maybe the frustrating moment was in the recent game against Chelsea. I mean, it was really bad against Huddersfield. But there was just a few minutes in that game against Chelsea when you thought, oh, they're going to do it, you know? They're going to do it. They're up for this game.
Yeah.
This is one really matters. This could be worth £60 million to the club, millions to the players, prestige, those nights in Paris for the fans, all the away trips we want, better players, progress. And it just went dead.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think mine might be the hours between the end of the Liverpool game and Mourinho getting sacked. When we recorded a podcast absolutely certain that Mourinho wouldn't be sacked and that there was no hope. And it turned out, what's even worse about this is it turned out that there was hope and then that was immediately and brutally snatched away. So we were actually right. There was no hope in the first place. So yeah. No, I think you've won it though. You've convinced me with that argument. The second half against Chelsea, because that was such a game of two halves. That was the one. It was the specific, precise moment where David De Gea chucked that one into his own net in that game. Because that was just before half time. We'd been bang on top for the whole first half. We just looked absolutely at the races from start to finish in that game until out of absolutely nothing, De Gea just threw our chances of the top four into our own net. Like, oh God, that was a bad moment. We should have done best moment second. That was bad
Now
timing.
depressed ourselves.
Much like Ole should have lost his first 10 games in charge and then gone on an amazing run towards the end of the season, narrowly missing out on the top four. That would have been an awful lot better. All right, goal of the season then.
Yeah, there's a few contenders here, aren't there?
Yeah,
Go on. So, what are your contenders then?
Well, I watched the compilation that you shared. That was the official United contenders, and I think I can remember most of them. So Pogba against Young Boys, Martial against Cardiff, the little passy flicky one. I really like that goal. Rashford against Brighton, the one bent in from a really narrow range. Yeah. Obviously the Pereira worldie that won it. Martial again against Fulham.
Yeah, nice goal.
Yeah,
very nice.
And there was one more. Oh, Lingard against Arsenal. That was a nice goal, but I'm not sure it's a goal of the season contender.
He took it nicely, didn't he? For first time.
Yeah, lovely finish. Yeah, lovely finish. A very good goal kind of thing. Rashford against Spurs. The Pogba raking long ball, Rashford taking it early. Beautiful goal
yeah,
that was.
Good finish.
The funny thing for me is I've been to 2 games this season, which is like by far less than I've been to in any season since Alex Ferguson was the manager. And 2 goal of the season contenders in the 2 games I went to. It's like, oh, good timing.
Solid work.
Because I saw the Brighton one from the Stretford end, and I saw the Fulham one as well. Both, but at the end that the goals were scored in as well. Oh, very lucky.
So, top 3 in reverse order. I reckon for me, then okay. I'll go. My third. I think my third one is Rashford against Spurs. Big night, beautiful long nice ball, goal. Lovely first time control, smashed into the corner.
Yeah.
My second, I think, is Martial against Fulham.
Yeah, okay.
Dribble.
Second.
And first, I think, is the Pereira worldie, but I don't know. It's not. I mean, it's a great long-range shot, but
yeah,
I'm on the fence here.
The thing about long-range shots, unless you're talking about Rooney's volley against Newcastle, like unless it's an absolutely outrageous technique from distance, there's something about long-range shots where I always think like, well, if you're good at football, I mean, like really good, if you're a Premier League quality footballer and you take a lot of shots from long range, occasionally you're going to find one from the top corner. But I like
occasionally being like 0.01.
yeah, exactly. There's just something about them where it's like, well done, you got it right that time. I suppose that's all good goals, isn't it? I don't know. I like a bit of skill. I like a bit of technical dribbly type skill. I like a little flick or a trick.
You like this tippy-tappy nonsense that they have at City and Liverpool. Yeah,
I mean,
for that.
I properly love the tippy-tappy nonsense. Bad week for Tippy Tappy nonsense, though. Ajax and Barcelona both going out in the same week. That's bad week. Johan Cruyff has not stopped turning in his grave since that happened. Beaten by a long ball and Liverpool. He'll be fuming.
Too right.
So, yeah. I think that I'm going to put Pereira in third place. Fantastic goal, if you like that sort of thing. I'm going to put Rashford against Brighton in second place.
The cut inside and the goal from the narrow angle.
Yeah. Just remember seeing it in person and not being able to work out what had happened, and then seeing it on video and just being blown away. And Martial against Fulham is goal of the season. And definitely the fact that I was at the game for my top two is hugely influencing their selection.
Fair enough. How are we doing on the awards? Any more awards?
Yeah, I mean, you have put here, Ed, player ratings.
Oh, yeah. I think we've got to do that.
All right, so we're going to do that. We're going to do the whole squad.
Yeah. I've got the list. I've got the squad list.
All right.
I've got my screen capture. I have an app that stitches screen captures together of the whole squad. I don't know when I did this, but I've got the whole squad and there are a bunch of red X's. I think this is when I was thinking about which players should survive. Not many.
Right. So, what are we doing? Are we doing a rating out of 10?
Yeah, rating out of 10. We've got keepers, De Gea, Grant, Romero and Pereira. I mean, Pereira, we don't have to give him a number. I don't think he's been at the club much. Grant, he got one game, didn't he?
Yeah, and made a rick in it in the penalty shootout. We lost the penalty shootout.
De Gea, and the other thing we should say, are we giving absolute ratings or relative ratings? And what I mean by that is, like, is this a level playing field where we're rating their absolute performance over the course of the season? Are we saying, like Dave, for example, absolute performance might be a 6. Relative performance versus his normal standards might be like a 2.
Yeah, okay. I think we're doing a sort of a slightly fudged combination of both.
All right, and so sitting on the fence as normal. Okay, fair enough.
No, all right, no. I tell you what. We'll do absolute performance. I don't know if it's possible to do absolute performance.
Okay, we'll fudge it. Go on. Whatever.
It's got to be a bit relative, hasn't it?
Go on. Well, I've just given my number for Dave then. It's a 6.
I think 6 out of 10 is incredibly generous for David De Gea this season, because I think that, first of all, like when you put a bit of relativity in there, he's just cost us so dearly at the end. Like, this is recency bias, because I'm sure he's saved us some points at some point in the season, but the desperate level that his performance dropped to, I can't give him more than a 3 out of 10 for the season.
Oh, hi. Who scored has him at 6.52?
I mean, that's like, all right. He's 6.52 out of 10. No, they're really bad on goalkeepers, particularly bad on goalkeepers, I think. Yeah. I think that 5 out of 10 is probably fair.
All right. Flappy Serge.
Is it fair? Is 5 out of 10 generous?
Well, I mean, again, recency bias. I think you're right there. He wasn't. He was soft, I think, his form. You know, there were a few like Dave Evolve might have saved that, but 10. Like normal humans wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then he went bad.
All right, 5 out of 10.
All right. Flappy Serge. Did he get any goals? Get games? He must have got some games.
He played in all the cups.
He played in all the cups.
All the FA Cup
Didn't
games.
let anyone
really
down,
well.
did he?
No, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
If it was just on the games that he'd played and sort of not taking a point off for how little he's played, I think he'd get an 8 out of 10. I don't think he dropped to less than an 8 out of 10 when he played.
No, probably not. I don't remember him ever having to do an awful lot.
He made like a good double save in one of the games.
All right.
Yeah. 7 out of 10, Flappy Serge. Well done.
Lee Grant. Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't. NA. Fantastic social media game. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. What was the point? Victor Lindelof.
It's an interesting one, because relative to his own previous United seasons, he's dropped a clear 10 out of 10 banger. But I would say 7 out of 10. A lot of perfectly decent games. Not that many mistakes, but some.
No, and I think it wasn't very good actually under Mourinho, and
He
this
was
is
very good. He was the second period of. He was like the only one who was all right in the latter period under Mourinho. I think
this is a United team that's conceded an awful lot of goals, and they're not all David De Gea throwing them in, are they? So
well, no, but they're not all Victor Lindelof either.
no, but yeah. I mean, I think he's got a lot better in the second half of the season, and he now looks like a very composed defender. I think he needs better players around him. So, I don't know. I'm going for a 6.5 or 7, somewhere around there. Six and a half. 6.5 for Lindelof. And he can get better. And if he put the second half of his season together for the whole season, yeah, we've got a defender.
I think he gets 7 out of 10 because I think you are overstating how bad he was in the first half of the season by quite a lot. I think he was easily one of the better players at United in the first half of the season.
54 goals we conceded in the league.
Well,
you have to go down to West Ham in 10th for a team that scored 5.
Well, all right, yeah. Well, we're about to give some other defenders some ratings, and that might start to explain it. 7 out of 10, Victor Lindelof.
All right, Eric Bailly.
2?
He's an awful season.
Absolutely atrocious.
Funny thing is, on my list of players here, I haven't got a big red X through him. I don't know why that is, because clearly he should have a red X.
I mean, the thing about Eric Bailly is last season I would have said he was by far our best defender, not necessarily in performance, but certainly at potential. But this has been a solid 2 out of 10 season for Bailly. Like, I think he's been almost every game that he's actually played has been bad, as well as the fact that he's hardly played any games because as soon as he gets fit, he injures himself again.
Yeah, there's been some speculation that Arsenal are interested.
I'm sure, it makes sense.
I know, it's like, what we'll do a swap for Mustafi, won't we? Like, all Arsenal fans hate because he's awful.
Yeah, it's just like Sanchez and Mkhitaryan.
2 out of 10, I think, is fair. Phil Jones. When's he been fit? Has he been fit? How many games has he played?
He's played loads of games. Since Ole came in, Jones has been a flipping ever-presence. I don't know why. He was straight back in the team under Solskjaer. We should have known then. It's been another bad season for Phil Jones. He has played a total of 1,264 minutes of league football, which when you compare that to Eric Bailly, who's played 639, it's the least of any it's the least of the rest of the central defenders. There's only him and Smalling left, but he's just been very bad every time he's played, apart from the few times where he's had good games.
Yeah, I'm giving him like a 4. He's not been as bad as Eric Bailly.
No,
Chris Smalling.
Agreed. I don't know. I feel like I have a unconscious bias against Chris Smalling.
Like, I feel like it's fairly conscious.
Right. No, but I feel like I can't... I've genuinely, ever since I've started covering football for fun and money, the one thing that I've always felt very bad at is assessing central defenders. So I think that I'm giving Chris Smalling a 6 out of 10 because I don't understand Chris Smalling. I feel like lots of the time Chris Smalling is absolutely fine. Then it seems to me that it's not like Jones, right? Well, Jones is like an accident waiting to happen the whole time. Jones's best and worst are much further apart than Chris Smalling's best and worst.
Yeah. I think Smalling's a solid mediocre all the time.
Yeah, there you go. 6 out of 10.
Consistency, that's what you're looking for in Premier League football. 5. I'm giving him a 5. I hate watching him play. I just hate. He can't pass the ball. He seems to be getting slower. He's not even that old. I mean, how old is Chris Smalling? He's 29.
He's not old. Yeah,
he's 29. God, he's been at the club forever.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there almost as long as we've been doing this stupid podcast.
5. Marcus Rojo, has he even played enough games for us to give him a rating?
1 out of 10. He just gets injured or sent off every time he comes on, or should get sent off.
Well, what game was it he played recently? His like only game in the last 6 months.
I can't remember.
Trying to tackle someone knee high.
Yeah, he definitely should have got sent off immediately.
Ashley Young, I mean, I feel like some of the awful stuff that's written about Ashley Young in social media on Twitter is just awful, and I feel like I need to see it because can I give him a 0? It's unfair for a player who's done good service for the club to still be at the club as a makeshift winger at 34 years of of age.
A makeshift left back.
A makeshift left back or right back, when he hasn't been a good left or right back ever, and he hasn't been a good winger for 5 years.
He was good in the cup against Chelsea. I'll give him 1 out of 10. He's been the most upsetting player to watch this season for me.
Oh, there was one right near the end of today's game against Cardiff. He gets a corner, hits the first man with his first ball, standard Youngie. Absolutely lashes it into the... And the second one, I'm like, what are you doing?
That first leg against Barcelona was
just
one of the most upsetting performances I've ever seen. Because we were all right in that game. We were up for it. We were at and Pogba kept finding Young in space over and over again. And I think that...
So did the Barcelona players. They kept finding space in behind Young over and over again.
I'm going to say that 2 out of 10 is probably fair because he had decent-ish games for periods.
When?
He did. Like, there was the Chelsea game. He played quite well in Solskjaer's very first exciting period of time. Like, he's not been 0 out of 10 this season.
Who scored have him in terms of league rating as our 6th best player this season? God, good God, yeah.
But I don't think he's not worse than Eric Bailly.
No, he's not. He's not, and he's played a lot of games this season. So 2,569 minutes in the league. So yeah, 3-3. All right. We're gonna have to speed this up. Diogo Dalot. Not played a lot of games, but I've enjoyed him when I've seen him. And he had some good games playing in attack. Yeah, 5. All right, yeah. Luke Shaw, the players' player and the fans' player of the year. Luke Shaw. 5. Yeah. Has he even been that good?
Nope, he has not been that good. There were times where he's probably had as many good games as anyone else. But I think he's had some absolute stinkers as well. They get a weird pass when he has
I did defend him at one stage in the season, and because his performances were on the uptick, but his numbers are terrible. He's just like nothing. It's just nothing. Yeah. Well, he's got 4 assists. I don't know where they came from. Apparently, he's got 4 assists. All right,
6 out of 10 season.
6 out of 10 season. Antonio Valencia has had a 2 out of 10.
Not out of 10. 0 para el capitán.
Well, he came on today for his goodbye.
Yeah. Hasta luego.
Matteo Darmian. I mean, I'm going to give him a 1 because he's barely played, except inexplicably he was picked to play in the derby.
Yep. Perfect. Next.
Paul Pogba. Oh. Is he like if you didn't watch football and only looked at the numbers, you'd go, good season. Assists, goals, he's got the most number of dribbles, take-ons, expected XG, actual XG, expected assists, X-chain, all the numbers. They're higher than everyone else in almost every attacking metric.
He's been our best player this season. Paul Pogba has.
But he's also, today's game, I hate this narrative of, he's just lazy. But what was that today? Like when he's like doing a Cruyff turn and trying to hit a 60-yard pass.
This is the biggest differential between if we were doing purely like objective numbers versus relative numbers. Because obviously Pogba's got the biggest differential between that. This is the thing about Pogba.
He's the best player at the club. And he knows it.
Yeah, the sense that his 10 out of 10 we've seen like once or twice this season. We've seen a number of 8 out of 10 performances. I think the thing is that the whole period in which we were good, Pogba was absolutely excellent, and that was no coincidence. I think the fact that he tops every single positive number in the kind of attacking sense at the club, basically, apart from XG. Oh, no, including XG, right? Yeah. So, just on every level, he's putting up the best numbers of anyone in the club. I think there's a kind of absolute quality to that that I think a lot of the criticism is like mixed up in. But having given Victor Lindelof a 7 out of 10, I don't feel like I can give Pogba a 7 out of 10, even though in a way you could argue like objectively or whatever his performances have been better in inverted commas, but I'm just not. There's been so many bad games as well You can't, and this is where I said you got to fudge it a bit, because you can't ignore the fact that he's performing so far below the level he should be.
No, and that is the frustration, isn't it? You know, and I understand why fans get deeply frustrated with him. I don't understand we should definitely bin him off, because just on practical terms, you expect us to buy a player of equal quality? You really? I mean, you look at Ed Woodward. You expect him, and there aren't that many players of that kind of potential quality. I mean, look at his performances at international level and Juve, etc., and so on. Blah 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 blah. And the club isn't going to pull the deal off.
And playing terribly in a terrible team. He's got 13 goals and 9 assists in the league. All right, a number of those goals are penalties, but a good number of non-penalty goals and 9 assists in the league. Like, you're not just replacing them. Like,
you just want his excellent stuff all the time. And maybe we do have to build a team around him. And maybe that's why he's frustrated, because he was promised a great team or believed that one would happen and it's not happened. And maybe that's where the performances that are well below his best come from. I don't know. You know, it's kind of summed up right at the end of the match today, where, you know, United have a free kick. He's absolutely insisted on taking it, and he's side-footed it into halfway up the wall.
Yeah,
it's like, what? And then Antonio Valencia has a lash at it and corner flag.
I'm not going to miss him. All right, 1 or 2 sentences on everyone left.
And all right. So, sorry. So Pogba's a 7. I gave Victor Lindelof a 6.5. One Mata,
I'm giving Pogba a 6.
Mata's a 5 out of 10 season. I love watching him, but like even he can't be bothered anymore. You look at his blog and it's like one-liners. Sorry, should be better. Sorry.
I think 7 is generous for Pogba, by the way. I'm going 6.
13-goal season in the league.
Yeah, but a lot of those are penalties.
But
no, yeah. All right.
5 for Mata from me.
Yep, sure.
Lingard, it's a poor season from him.
Oh, really bad. 4.
Yeah, I was going to say he's worse than Mata. It's Andres Pereira. Honestly, he's been really bad every time he's been given a chance, which is a shame, because I liked him as a youth player. Not sure that he's really progressed. Looks like a rabbit in the headlights still. So it's like a 3 from me.
Sure.
Fred was good for about 3 games during around about the Paris win.
Yeah, 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's generous.
Yeah, 2 out of 10 for Fred.
£50 million.
2 out of 10.
Ander Herrera.
10!
Yeah, right.
10 out of 10. The best of all of them. The only one who cares.
I might believe that last line, but yeah, no, it's a 6. It's a 6 out of 10 season.
Yeah, it is.
Matic, hate him. He's awful. 4 out of 10.
Matic, hate him. He's awful. 2 out of 10.
Former managers' player of the year. No, he still is. He hasn't. He hasn't been...
no other manager's ever going to be stupid enough to give away a manager's player of the year. So literally the 4 all-time managers' player of the year. I'm going to give him
Scott McSaw.
a 7 because relative to expectations, he's not. I mean, he was at fault for the second goal yesterday, but I think he's the most improved player in the squad. I think he's been the most surprising player in the squad a number of times. He's developing in the ways we want him to develop, and he's not played that much. And I actually think he probably should have played a little more. So I'm going to give him a generous 7.
I don't believe he's had a 7 out of 10 season. 863 minutes. There's less than 10 games. He's played less than a quarter of a season, and I think you're right when you say he should have played more. I mean, United would not have been worse with McTominay in the side and not Matic. Definitely not, and he's progressed a lot, but I think it's a 5 season because...
Let's compromise and give him a 6 between us.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Forwards, this should be fun.
I don't want to do this.
Alexis Sanchez.
Minus 300k a week. No, 500k a week.
Absolutely.
Out of 10.
I mean, he's not just stealing a living. He's murdering in plain sight a living.
Yeah, he's not just stealing a living. He's stealing an obscene amount of wealth. Like, that's not a living, is it, what he's making? One of the worst players ever. Like, pound for pound, by far the worst player that's ever played for United, money-wise.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, look, we've had some bad signings over the years, and really, I can only remember them from the, sort of early to mid-'80s. But I can't think of a worse one. I mean, objectively, there are worse players, right? Bebe was a terrible player. There have been bad players play for United. But, pound for pound, relative to his talent, experience, and the obscene amount of money he's making, god awful. If he's still at the club come August the 10th, when the window's closed and we're playing again, I just won't be able to take it.
Scott McTominay's played 14 minutes less than Alexis Sanchez in the league this season. That's absolutely shocking. Marouane Fellaini has only just played like 100 minutes less than Alexis Sanchez. He's been gone since January. It's unbelievable. Diego Dallo's played more than Alexis Sanchez. Fred's played almost 150 minutes more than Alexis Sanchez.
It's just an awful signing. He's earning £25 million a year.
1 goal, 3 assists.
And all those. United should just, I don't know what it's going to cost for someone to take him off our hands, but it's probably going to be in the order of £15 million a year, maybe more. Right? Just do it. He's a cancer now.
You said about Matic, like, I hate him. The thing about Matic is, he seems like a decent lad.
Oh, yeah. I don't hate him on a personal level, just as a footballer. No.
Alexis Sanchez, though, I hate him. Like, he's just the worst. He just sucks so bad on every level. And that
mustache. I mean, we talked about this, it looking like, he was in a 30s scene gangster. I want a Valentine's Day massacre at Old Trafford. Just take out.
1 goal this season from Alexis Sanchez.
Romelu Lukaku, your favourite.
12
goals.
Rom.
12 goals for Big Rom this season.
I tell you what Romelu Lukaku has done, which is rare for me, is he's become a Man United player and I've become a lot less affectionate towards him. That normally does not happen. Normally, it's when people become Manchester United players, I suddenly develop a massive affection for them. I never liked Alexis Sanchez, to be fair. And apart from one Rankcast ever where I weakened and said I was excited about signing him, I was absolutely consistent that we shouldn't sign Sanchez. It's one of my rare correct shouts in the history of this podcast. Lukaku, I definitely did think we should sign. I always loved his kind of football intelligence and the fact that he was such a football nerd and a massive tryhard in terms of really looking at the specific weaknesses of defenders and, had such a good scoring record. But basically he's become a massive bodybuilder and flopped, and it's been a horrible season.
Here's a test for you. No looking at the data.
Okay.
Which United player, and there's only one, has a worse percentage shots on target ratio than Romelu Lukaku?
Pogba.
Nope.
Wow. Valencia with the naught.
Nope.
Ashley Young?
Nope.
Is it someone who takes a lot of shots, a high volume of shots?
It's David De Gea.
Is it David De Gea? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know when he's got a shot. One of his goal kicks must have been counted at some point. But it's just a truly awful season, and he's just become so immobile.
He's got slowed up.
He's slowed up so massive. It's just, it's not injury either. I think he really bulked up.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
I guess he just wasn't, with all the games, he wasn't doing as much cardio in between the games because he was trying not to burn out and he was hitting the gym.
I'm going to say that he scored 12 league goals this season. So we can't give him a 1 or 2 out of 10. But I think more than 3 out of 10 is crazy, especially given those 12 goals have been condensed into bunches. And over stretches of the season, he's been playing at a 0 out of 10. Sanchez levels, and then he's just had little moments where he was on form, but so few and far between. 3 out of 10.
Well, he scored twice in Paris, and he scored twice against Southampton.
Yep.
And he scored a whole bunch at the beginning of the season. So
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 season.
Yeah,
do you remember when I said we'll do 2 sentences?
Yeah, 4 out of 10 for me is better. 12 goals. So Marcus Rashford. God, this is a shame because he's just gone massively off the boil, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And there was a period where he was scoring goals. Well, 3 games.
And the thing is, like Rashford, I'm always inclined to be extremely defensive about Rashford and blame it on the system, blame it on the way the team's playing and all that. But actually, no, just straight up personal form, 5 out of 10 season.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, and I really believe there is more in there. I'm certain of that. You know, he's got all the tools. I did think it was an interesting nugget that I was reading today. I just mentioned it a couple of times, but that he stopped running in behind, and I think that is right. And people have kind of, I think that the take on him in social media is that he's Billy Big Boots. He thinks he's better than he is, you know. And I think that's probably not right. I think it's probably lack of confidence. He's doing the thing that Wayne Rooney used to do when he wasn't playing well and just trying to get the ball all the time. And I think, you know, a summer, a bit of coaching, which is like go back to basics. You know, on the shoulder of the last man, you are quick. That's how you should be playing as a number 9. If you're going to play at number 9, and he's basically, you know, our lead number 9 now, isn't he? And he'll score a lot of goals, you know. And
I do think, like, having just said I'm not going to blame the system and all that for him and be overly defensive about Marcus Rashford, I do think he's particularly suffered from Ole's obsession with tactical switches. Like I think that Rashford, I think we should be playing 4-3-3 next season with Martial, Rashford and Greenwood alternating, but Rashford's basically the number 9. Like, I think that would be phenomenal, or potentially phenomenal, because it can also be absolutely terrible, because Anthony Martial is another player who's getting 5 out of 10, and that is generous. Yeah. That's because he's scored, like, a few incredible goals. He scored a decent number of goals.
He's got 10 in the league. And so has Rashford.
His worst performances, Anthony Martial's worst performances, have been as bad as Matic, as bad as Sanchez, as bad as the absolute worst of the worst.
No, I think that's right. And I think he gets called out a lot for lack of effort. And I don't know. I mean, like, when it comes to Pogba, I can objectively say that's really not true, because his numbers for, like, number of kilometres run are pretty high, low on the sprinting level. With Martial, when he's not in good form or not feeling right or whatever it is that's going on with him, he does just stand around. And it's a real problem for United, because if you're Anthony Martial in the team and he's not moving as one of the wide forwards, then the attack just shuts down.
And he, you know, I mean, Rashford might have stopped running behind, but Martial stopped running behind when Lou van Gaal left. Like, he just wants the ball to feet all the time. I know it's the most obvious thing in the world. Like, Anthony Martial wants the ball to feet. Now, when I say that Martial, Greenwood and Rashford could be a brilliant front 3, of course it's possible that Martial and Rashford aren't these brilliant players that they seem like when they're playing well. But we've seen them with our own eyes be amazing. So we've also seen them with our own eyes be terrible. And the hope, I guess, is that if you get the structures right in this side, then you're building a platform on which Pogba, Martial and Rashford in particular can really do what they can do. But one of the things that now is starting to worry me about Solskjaer is I do think that Mourinho went far too far in the unforgiving direction, but these players definitely don't need someone to be too forgiving with them.
No.
They definitely need to be being pushed. And I do think that balance is very difficult to achieve in modern football, but it is possible. There are managers doing the business with players. You know, if you take Salah and Mane, now, maybe Salah and Mane are just miles and miles and miles ahead of Rashford and Martial, and it's just my United bias that's making me think that they're not. But to me, if you swap those two players in the last 3 years into the experience of United and the experience at Liverpool, I think Rashford and Martial would be absolutely balling out for Liverpool if they were playing under Klopp and in that system.
Yeah, and 4 years ago, Salah wasn't much of a player, and yeah, I think we could kill some very good players in our system and our club. God. Anyway, we've been yapping on for an hour and a half, and we thought we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
It's the last. No, we didn't. We never thought that. It's the last show of the season. We can go long.
It is, but I'm beginning to depress myself now. So
we're not doing a show till August, and we haven't even started with the depressing stuff because we have to do a bit of a look forward. That's been the look back. Player of the season. My player of the season is Victor Lindelof. That's. I mean, it's actually Scott McTominay. Like Rankcast Player of the Year. The Rankcast Managers Player of the Year is Scott McTominay. But I think Victor Lindelof is my player of the season ahead of Luke Shaw. And Paul Pogba.
Yeah, it's Shaw's nowhere near there for me. I mean, he's improved, but it's just emotional to call him a player of the season. Lindelof, I mean, if you cut out the first 3 months of the season...
2 months.
I 54 goals we've conceded, and he's been in that middle of that central defence. I know it's not all his fault. We don't need to relitigate that debate.
We should also look at how many of those goals were scored in Jones and Smalling games.
Yeah. I mean, we probably should. I don't have the data in front of me to spit it out. I mean, I could do. I just find it really hard to give it to a defender with this season with the absolute our defence was. I don't know how. I can't give it to Paul Pogba, even though his numbers are great, because objectively he's not been great. You know, at times, at large times, and at times he's been very good, and he's been unfairly vilified. So, I think I'm not going to give it to anyone. I think I'm.
I said we should do that, and you said no. We've got to do it. We've got to do it.
We had to have a debate about it. I
didn't know no one was an option. No, obviously the winner is no one. That's like by
spoiling my ballot is what I'm doing.
All right. Well, listen. If no one is an option, then obviously no one is the winner. Like that's. But I don't believe that no one should. I wouldn't have. We've just spent 45 minutes talking about all these idiots. I would have just said they've all been rubbish, give them all 2 out of 10, and left it at that. You've got to pick one.
You're going back to this, Paul, like, burn everything. I hate the world.
No. I've participated against my will in yet another episode of this stupid show. You've got to pick a player of the season.
I'm going to give it to Phil Jones at this rate. I hate them all.
Yeah.
I don't know who to give it to. I don't want to give it to any of them. I'm giving it to Mason Greenwood, that performance today.
Yeah. All right. Well done, Mason.
There you go. That's copping out, isn't it?
I can't believe this has happened. No. Do you know what? If this was the other way round, you would not let me do this. There's no way. You look into your heart, Ed, and you tell me that
I get all Paxman on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine, I'm giving it to Victor Lindelof.
All right, yes.
You win.
Well done, Victor. You are the official worst ever Rankcast player of the season, to go with Luke Shaw's worst ever actual player of the season award.
Yeah. Wowza. Well, you want to look forward? Let's look forward then. We've got a summer to look forward to with wonderful transfer speculation.
Yeah, I have been paying absolutely, and when I say no attention, I mean I've unfollowed everyone on all my social media that I still do, that's got much to do with football, apart from my friends and stuff that are in football media. But I have absolutely no idea who we've been linked with, who's going, anything.
There's not been a lot. That's good. So, I mean, there's the usual speculation about De Gea's contract and Paul Pogba. Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, got a 3-month worldwide ban. But
what does that mean?
I don't think it means anything, to be honest, because the agency he's signed to has other agents. Right. I don't think it's been played as this. Oh well, he won't be able to move because it runs out at the end of the transfer window. But I don't think that's true. I think if he wants to force a move out and the club decide it's time to cash in, I think that'll still get done. And there's a very good chance of that. I expect Massa will go with Herrera and Valencia, as we know. They're desperate to get rid of Rojo and Darmian. I mean, pay people off. It doesn't matter. They're taking up space in the squad. Pay them off. As I said, I just don't know if I'll be able to cope if Alexis Sanchez is still in August. Please get rid of him. I mean, I got the crosses on my squad, as I said. I've got 12, and I didn't even put one through Eric Bailly. And I'm not I think I'm fairly forgiving when it comes to a fan about players.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it
comparatively? Yeah.
Okay.
To social media, it'd have every player at the club sold.
Yeah.
So there was some speculation about Gareth Bale God, no, please, no, please, no.
That can't be real.
And Dybala, there were a few journalists talking about United are prepared to activate his release clause, which is 86 million. A good player, not progressed as much as he could have. Also, a sort of, deep-lying striker. It doesn't really seem to fit Ole's system very well. That's about it. Something came out about Matthias de Ligt. One, he'd turned down United because he probably wants to go to an actual football club, not a marketing unit with a football-themed product. But also, and this was funny, and I don't know how true it is, that United could have signed him for much less last year, but decided not to because they were worried about his weight. Luke Shaw says, "Hold my beer." Oh, it's KFC.
Yeah. Oh dear. I can't find out how many goals Victor Lindelof has been involved in. I've been looking on my phone the whole time you've been talking about transfers. And
we can work it out, and you can put it on Twitter or something. And use my Twitter feed because I won't be looking at it for a while. Oh, there was some thought that United had put in a bid for Daniel James from Swansea. He was famous for scoring that goal from like 70 yards out. He just ran. He's insanely quick. I can't say I watched much Championship football this season, so I couldn't tell you if he's any good. But he's really fucking quick.
All right, so starting 11 at the beginning of the first day.
Is this what I think it will be, or what I hope it will be?
What you think it will be. And you put one, just to be clear of what our group chat is like, Ed put Romero, Young, Smalling, Jones, Shaw, McTominay, Matic, Lingard, Mata, Lukaku, Sanchez as his starting 11 that he thought it was going to be.
No. I was winding you up. I think it will be David De Gea. I think they'll just force him to stay. And he'll still be at the club. I mean, unless he really does ask for a move away, I think they'll keep him. I don't know, the way that Ole is talking about it. It might be Young. It might still.
No, you're right. You are 100% right. Amazingly,
I don't think. I mean, the noises are coming out that he's happy with central defenders. So it's Smalling, Lindelof, Shaw.
So, identical back five to today. No, we played Jones and Smalling today.
Yeah. In midfield, I mean, he's got to be off Matic. He's got to, hasn't he?
He's not going to.
I was convinced.
He's not going to bin off
I was convinced a couple of months ago that Pogba was staying. I'm pretty convinced he's not staying now.
Oh, really?
And that they wouldn't force him I think a lot of it's politics, right? Real Madrid is the only game in town. And they will buy one of Hazard, Eriksen, or Pogba, not all of them, and they can't really afford one of them. So they're trying to negotiate down. Is my take on the speculation. Anyway, I'm not an insider on this. Yeah, I'm not pretending to be in the know, but this is what I speculate on speculation.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
So maybe he's not there, and so maybe it's McSauce and two new midfielders. They have to. I mean, it's criminal. If they don't, everyone should be sacked at the club. If Ole isn't resigning because they haven't bought two new midfielders, he should be sacked.
And then up front?
Rashford, Martial, and one other.
Mason Greenwood. That's I've gone with.
I actually don't think that's true. I'm not sure they'll throw Mason straight into the first team.
I think he should just be 100% part of the first team squad at the beginning of next season. I don't see any good reason why not. Because he does. There's nothing about his performance today where you were like, oh, he's not ready for the big time. And the level that he's not going to improve by scoring 100 goals every game, and sending him on loan seems daft. All right, so I'm going to go real optimistic now and go De Gea, Dalot, Tuanzebe, Lindelof, Shaw. New signing, McSauce, Pogba, Greenwood, Rashford, Martial. That's my super optimistic take. And if that's
where do you think that
11,
team? Where do you think that team finishes in the league?
Top of the league.
Yeah,
top four though. No, genuinely.
You think that team hits the top four? I mean, it's not that different from the team that's out on the pitch now.
It's the sort of best version of that team that's out on the pitch now. It doesn't have Ashley Young in it, which is really important. It doesn't have Chris Smalling or Phil Jones in it. Very important. These are the big weaknesses. We're assuming that De Gea hasn't got the yips anymore. Like, let's assume that. That's a big difference to the team in the last 2 months. And the new midfielder is obviously very important because the new midfielder is going to have to be real good. Like that's key. And then Greenwood, Rashford and Martial is much better than most of the front threes that we've had in the last few months because often it's been a front two with Lukaku in it. So,
yeah.
So there are key differences.
I think there's zero chance that starting 11 will be in play, but maybe it's exciting. I'm worried. I have to say, honestly, I don't think the club's moved on. All this talk of a technical director, which would really oversee coaching and levels between sides, or a director of football, which would oversee a long-term recruitment strategy. Like none of it's happened, and in fact, the noises coming out of the club seem to be they're kind of happy with the way it's gone. In fact, it's not even noises. Solskjaer said, "Oh yeah, me and Mike have sat down and we've come up with a list and we think that's okay." And I just don't, unless that list is actually here are the weaknesses in the squad, the 12 or 13 players. Here are 3 players per position we need to strengthen and go out and sign them, which I don't believe it is. And here is a massive scouting list of players we have looked at, and they're not all, yes, that tier 1 agent has him, and it's 20 million for the agent fee and 60 million for the player, which isn't going to happen. There aren't going to be 6 or 7 signings like that. There might be 1, and I worry about that because it might be like Bale or James Rodriguez or some other washed up player. So I'm super worried. I think there's nothing in the. I looked at the last 10 years of United signings. I reckon there's 6 who've actually you could say success, and there's a few on the fence.
Imagine if we sign James Rodriguez. It's like, we want a player that's really going to fit into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style. I guess the one thing that Heinkes did with Rodriguez was play him as a deeper lying playmaker. So you could maybe say there's a reason to play James in like deep lying position, but James in a deep lying position in the Prem is going to get chomped up. I think
he's going to get smashed about. I mean, game's all about systems, isn't it? And he just doesn't fit in an Ollie's system. I don't know why I was talking about him because I just threw the name out, but he'd also be in Pogba's zone, so it's the assumption that Pogba goes as well. So
The key question for me about, because the structural problems at the club, I think when Mourinho was in situ, what we were saying over and over again as a kind of counter argument to the people who said Jose is the hero and the truth against the evil Glazer monsters was that first, obviously, Mourinho was being self-serving, but not even beyond that. What we need is a manager who's going to work within the confines of this limited and ultimately kind of broken system to get the best out of the players who he does end up with.
Yeah, imagine that. You get a manager who works with a limited budget, knows how to mould younger players, takes a broken team and turns them into something, gets everyone believing. Who could that be?
Yeah, and we've not done that, and I was real happy with the appointment of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I really hope that he has a break, he comes back refreshed, they take a hard line with the squad, and there's a lot of change over this summer, even a kind of more players than you would say it's generally sensible to get rid of in a summer get gone to kind of clear the dead wood and really we talk about Tuanzebe, Garner, Greenwood, really bring up a kind of a bunch of players into the first team from the youth ranks and from on loan. I'm not saying that's a guarantee of success, but I feel like given that we're not going to get a technical director who's going to be really efficient in the transfer market, we should be looking at maximising what we do with our players. And the key question for me is, what is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system? Are we a high-pressing, team who are carving open high percentage chance opportunities by winning the ball back high up the pitch. If that's what we're going to be, then I'm happy about that. Like, that would be lovely to see that. We'll see if that turns out to be the case. If we're a low block team that just plays on the break most of the time, I think it's unlikely that that's going to be successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly in those 4 games, that's the former is what Ole wanted to play. It's the system that Liverpool, City, Barcelona, Ajax, Tottenham to a different extent play. It's like, and I'm not saying it's because these systems like come in and out of favour, but the high press, win it back in the opposition to take advantage, athletic, speedy, possession-based team those are the teams that are being successful right now. So, if you take that as a mould, then there's a lot to work with. Awful lot of players have to move on. I mean, you cannot have Mata, Matic, Smalling, Jones because they can't pass the ball, Young because he's no longer got any legs, Lukaku because he can't move. You can't have any of those players anywhere near the team to play that system.
The only one of those who you maybe could have would be Phil Jones, and you can't have Phil Jones because he's worth a goal every 3 games, 100% guaranteed to the opposition. So that's a problem. But everyone else, I completely agree. For that to happen, they all have to go, and we know Young isn't going. And I can't think of any more chilling words to end this podcast on than "we know Young isn't going." So that is the ultra bleak note on which to end. But I did want to say I've found it very difficult to watch football the last 2 months. But one thing I wanted to say, the number of people that have told us this season, obviously we get negative feedback, get told we're boring, we get criticism for doing this podcast, but overwhelmingly we get incredibly positive and kind feedback about doing this show. And by easily, the only reason we're still doing this show is because you lot like it. Because if we weren't getting active feedback that people like and value the show and appreciate it as part of their lives and their engagement with football in general, this show would be super over. And it's going to be our 10-year anniversary when we come back, and if you'd said when we started that we would still be doing this podcast in 10 years and it would have grown to the level that it's grown to and had the kind of consistency of followers, and obviously there's been people who've been with us for that whole 10 years, but along the ride, loads of people have come along, and it just means so much. And it's every time that someone's either WhatsApp me or messaged me on Instagram or dropped us an email, and I'm sure you get positive comments on Twitter, Ed. I don't know if they're drowned out by people calling you the C word for your general Twitter opinions, but yeah. And when I was on Twitter, obviously, got loads and loads and loads of nice words about the podcast. So
yeah. No, I don't get too many death threats at the moment because my particular brand of cynicism is kind of fitting in nicely. But it's getting dusty in this room here, Paul. Those words. A little bit dusty.
Well, I haven't even started on you yet, Ed. My partner in podcasting for 10 years. Known each other since I was 4 years old and you were 12 or something because you're so much older. No, that's not true. And it's so nice to have an excuse to touch base every week. And we always talk about life in and around the recording of the podcast. And I've never done anything with anyone as much as I've podcasted with you. So,
Wow.
Yeah, well, 10 years, that's a long relationship,
That is. Do you think we'll win the league title again in the next 10 years?
No.
God.
Maybe one. It could happen, Leicester won the league. I mean, I know even leaving aside Leicester winning the league, it would not take that much for the structures at the club to change. I mean, I think almost the most important job that would have to change is you'd have to take Woodward out of the football
side of the club. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and everyone talks about the market, but it is the thing, right? recruitment strategy is deeply, deeply important in football. I mean, you have to have great coaching, you have to have great systems, you have to understand how to bring players up from 5 years old when they first come to the club to the first team, that whole route, and that has to be structured. You have to have great facilities, all of that. But as you're evolving your squad, acquisitions. It's so important.
And it is not about spending the most, obviously.
No, 991 million. I added it up. In the last 10 years, we've spent recouped a lot of that as well.
Well, some of it. Lots of big words.
£1 billion in 10 years. You thought we'd have bought some decent players.
If you look at Spurs, and everyone talks about Spurs because they didn't buy anyone last summer. It's the first time in the whole history of the Premier League that any team's ever gone through a summer transfer window and not bought anyone. But at every level of Spurs' acquisition, there is structure, purpose, good sense, like they're buying the right kind of player for the right kind of role. And then you also have the kind of football nous of Pochettino, where you buy a player like Sissoko and bring him through to the level of where he's like the absolute best version of Sissoko that's ever existed, So even a team that, like, you can't say they've bought loads and loads of players, but that it's not like that team is all youth academy products, is it? It's mostly sensible acquisitions with a few youth academy products in the mix.
Anyway,
all right. So, thank you very much for listening for this season. The plan for the summer is that we're going to have a proper break this year. We didn't have one last year because of the World Cup. This season, I have to say, has been particularly draining and difficult to find the energy to do this podcast every week. So we're going to have a proper break. We're going to be back in August to preview the season, the Premier League season. And I'm going to try and do some bonus stuff a bit later in the summer, as I've done before in non-World Cup years, get some interviews and that sort of thing. Just put a few podcasts out. But we're not going to be doing regular shows in the summer covering the transfer nonsense. If something absolutely extraordinary happens, I'm sure we'll convene to discuss that as we always would.
120 million on Gareth Bale.
I'm not doing
He'll play 20 games next season.
I'm not doing a podcast just because we signed Gareth Bale. No. That is not worth it.
No, it's Leo Messi on nothing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so thank you very, very much for listening. Have a brilliant summer, everyone. Remember to, I'm sure you don't need us to tell you this, but remember to keep football in the appropriate context in which it belongs in your lives and enjoy everything else about life, even if football is utterly bizarre and difficult as a United fan at the moment.
See you, have a great summer, and we will speak to you soon-ish.
And of course, backers, stay tuned for your last bonus content of the season. Thanks, everyone. The Rankcast is produced by the hardest working man in show business, Tom Jenkins, and is brought to you by the people who choose to back us at patreon.com/Rankcast. Now, listen, I'll level with you. This probably isn't the week to start backing us, given there's probably not going to be another show until August. But if you want to support us, sort of retrospectively for all the stuff we've done over the course of the last 10 years almost, then head to patreon.com/Rankcast and sign up to back us. If you back us at $5 a month plus VAT, as you know by now, no doubt, you get some bonus content every week. Here's a little bit of a clip of this week's bonus content, which is about the show itself. And in the meantime, on behalf of Ed and myself, thank you to everybody for listening, and we'll see you next season.
Just scrolling back through all the previous podcasts, and our first was called Season Preview. Yeah, creative. The second, Injury Crisis, so nothing's changed. Number 3, What's Up with Anderson?
Oh, isn't that beautifully dated?
And another one not dated, Chelsea's transfer ban. Rankcast 4.
I don't remember that at all.
No, I don't, but they've just got another one, so good stuff.
Le plus ça change.
Yeah.
Now it's What's Up with Ander and Chelsea's transfer ban and injury crisis.
That's right. And if Alexis Sanchez is still at the club in August, I'm refusing to do a season preview.
The thing that started to happen would be that, like, with Twitter and everything, it kind of grew and grew and grew, and
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.